Mr. Mulbright with AVNation at CEDIA Expo 2021, technically in the CEDIA booth. My buddy Scott Stevenson from Hunter Douglas. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We chatted probably about a month or so ago, about some new innovations you guys have got. But let's first talk about the app. And one of the interesting things, Hunter Douglas makes shades, some high-end, high-quality shades. But an app was not what I was kind of expecting from you guys. So let's talk about the development of that and what dealers can do with that.
Right, yeah. So, certainly one of the things about selling Hunter Douglas shades is you're stepping into a world that's more complex than what a lot of maybe CI dealers are used to in the world of window coverings. They're used to selling roller screen shades, and that's really about it. We make 26 different kinds of shades that can be automated. And so figuring out how to go into a customer's home and help them choose the right product and then get through that selling process and through the quoting process can be a real learning curve. And so we've created this mobile selling app, we call it The Link, and it's a way for dealers to go out onto the job site or into the customer's home and sit there with the customer. In the app, they can look at all the different options. They can review the photos of different products, what they look like in a home. They can upload their own photos. So if they did a job themselves and have some really nice photos, they can show their own work. But then it allows them to do some really nice things like, let's say a customer is trying to choose between a couple different product lines or even just a couple different types of fabric. They can do a really quick price comparison just to say, okay, if you went this route, ballpark, it would be this price. Yeah. If you went this route, it would be this way. And then they can take it a step further and generate the full quote. And they can go through, they can enter just, say a kitchen and a living room or whatever, add the windows to it. They can either enter really rough measurements or it actually integrates with a laser measuring device. Nice. And it will pull the data from that right into the app so they can get really accurate measurements that way if they want. And then from that, they can add the products. They can again do kind of price comparisons, look at different, what if we did this, what if we did that? All right, we want to go that way, let's add it to the quote. Yeah. Once they've built the quote, they can actually, while they're there on site, they can, right from the app, they can email the quote to the client, or they can, at that point, go ahead and have the client sign the quote right on site and place the order from the app. So it really makes it a streamlined process. Yeah,
you mentioned coordination with a measuring app or the measuring tool. Some folks, though, you mentioned the fact that it's a more complex shade system. Some folks aren't 100% comfortable with the measuring, even though we measure twice and cut once. Yep. So talk about some of the programs you guys have got for both kind of guaranteed installation but also guaranteed measuring.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so certainly I think there's no doubt you walk around the show floor and talk to dealers, you'll talk to an awful lot of dealers who have a very expensive mistake sitting in their garage because they measured wrong and they paid for a very expensive shade and they can't do anything with it. And so we have a program that we call Hunter Douglas Installation Services, HDIS. And essentially what that allows our dealers to do is to contract the measurement and the installation of the shades through us, through Hunter Douglas. And then we guarantee both the measurement and the installation. So if a measurement for some reason is wrong, that's on us. We're remaking the shade on our dime. The shade installation itself is guaranteed for a full year on just the installation part of it. So if there's something where Mrs. Jones says, yeah, man, it seems like that shade's just not quite level, and fortunately that kind of thing rarely happens because these guys are real pros. Yeah. But yep, it's on us. They'll be back there to resolve that.
And the thinking behind that, and this is a question, is the thinking behind that anything installation-wise, if you haven't noticed it in a year, it probably isn't that big of a deal.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Lastly, talk to the dealers out there about selling shades and the opportunities there. I have several friends that are dealers. One of my dearest friends, Matt Scott, he loves shades. He thinks it's one of those most untapped resources for dealers. Why do you think that is? And talk to dealers to kind of either encourage them, or what would you say to a dealer who's considering getting into shading and they just haven't yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we see is the dealers who have gotten there, they've dunked their toes in shading and are doing a little bit of it, and we see a lot that aren't even doing it at all and know they really need to. I mean, certainly when you think about how many dealers are doing lighting control, and just consider it a core part of their business, but yet you're only controlling part of the light. If you're controlling the artificial light in the house, but you're not controlling the natural light that's streaming into the house, you're not doing lighting control. So first of all, just in terms of the way you want to provide that service to your customers, you really should be doing it. And you should be thinking about expanding beyond just that roller shade opportunity, because there's so many other ways that you can control and filter and bounce and light, while still providing privacy and all these other things that are necessary. So the other reason is, frankly, it's just a massive opportunity for them. I mean, when you think about a typical project, you might walk into a project with a customer who said, hey, I just want to do a, simple multi-room sound system and, maybe a little bit of a media room type of area, and great, you'd have walked out of that project with $10,000 in your pocket. But as soon as you say to that customer, hey, you're building this new home and you're going to need window shades, right? Well, yeah, they do need window shades. There's not going to be a situation where the customer said, they may say, you know what, we're not going to do that fourth TV, but they're not going to say, you know what, we're not going to put shades on the bedroom window.
Yeah.
They're just not going to. And so that $10,000 project can easily become a $40,000 or $50,000 project just by talking to your customers about window shades.
Well, and it's just like starting a conversation.
Yep.
All right, Scott, somebody wants to find out more about Hunter Douglas, how do they do that?
Well, you can certainly you're welcome to email me directly, scott.stevenson@hunterdouglas.com, and you can, of course, visit hunterdouglas.com.
All right, very good. Scott Stevenson from Hunter Douglas. For us, for AVNation, go by our website, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv, and find more videos from the show floor of CEDIA Expo 2021. I cannot tell you how incredibly good it feels to say that. All that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.